Hey, everybody, it's here. Welcome to Animated Faith. Today, we're going to look at the incredible story of Ruth, the Moabite Ruth, a widowed foreigner, a Moabite with no future. By all human standards, she was an outsider. She didn't belong in Israel's story yet. She became the great-grandmother of King David and part of the lineage of Jesus Christ. How does a woman from a cursed nation find her place in the family of God? Stick around, because Ruth's story will show you that God's redemption can reach anyone, anywhere, no matter their past. The book of Ruth opens during the time of the Judges. Israel was in turmoil. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. Judges 21:25. And in Bethlehem, famine struck. A man named Elimelech, his wife Naomi, and their two sons, Mahlon and Chilion, packed up and left Bethlehem. They journeyed east to Moab. But Moab was not just any nation. It was Israel's enemy. Born out of the sin of Lot's daughters, Genesis 19-37, Moab carried a cursed reputation. Deuteronomy 23:3 says, "An Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord, even to their 10th generation." So Elimelech's decision wasn't just survival, it was compromise. He took his family into enemy territory. In Moab, Elimelech died. Naomi was left with her two sons, who both married Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth. But after about 10 years, Mahlon and Chilion also died. Suddenly Naomi was left a loner widow with no husband, no sons, and only two Moabite daughters-in-law. In those days, being a widow was a death sentence to poverty. Naomi had nothing, so she decided to return to Bethlehem, broken and bitter. As Naomi set out for Bethlehem, she urged her daughters-in-law to return to their families. Orpah wept, kissed Naomi goodbye, and went back. But Ruth clung to her. And then, Ruth spoke some of the most powerful words of loyalty ever recorded. Ruth 1:16-17 KJV. "Entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. Where thou deest, will I die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part thee and me." Ruth was not just pledging loyalty to Naomi, she was choosing Israel's God over Moab's idols. She was stepping into the covenant, though she had no guarantee of acceptance. Ruth was saying, "I will walk into poverty, widowhood, and rejection because I want your God to be my God." That's faith. When Ruth and Naomi arrived in Bethlehem, they had nothing. So Ruth went to glean. The law of Israel allowed the poor to pick up leftover grain behind the reapers, and her hap was too light on a part of the field belonging unto Boaz. Ruth 2-3. But this was no coincidence. Boaz was a wealthy, godly man, a relative of Elimelech. Boaz noticed Ruth. He had heard of her loyalty to Naomi. He told her to glean safely in his fields, to drink from his vessels, to eat at his table. He showed her kindness when she had no right to expect it. Ruth 10 records her amazement. "Why have I found grace in thine eyes, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger?" Grace. That's the word. Ruth, the Moabite outsider, found grace. As weeks passed, Ruth gleaned in Boaz's fields and won the hearts of everyone in town. But Naomi, ever the matchmaker, urged Ruth to approach Boaz as her kinsman redeemer. In Israel, a near relative could redeem a widow by marrying her, preserving the family line. So Ruth, in a bold and humble act, went to the threshing floor where Boaz slept. She laid at his feet and said, "Spread therefore thy skirt over thine handmaid, for thou art a near kinsman." Ruth 3-9. This was not seduction, it was submission. Ruth was asking Boaz to redeem her, and Boaz, impressed by her virtue, agreed. But there was a near kinsman, so he followed the law. In the end, Boaz legally redeemed Ruth, married her, and restored Naomi's family line. 9 months later, Ruth bore a son, Obed, And Obed begat Jesse, and Jesse begat David. Yes, King David, Israel's greatest king, the man after God's own heart. And through David's line came Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Matthew 1:5-6 includes Ruth by name in the genealogy of Christ. Think about it. A Moabite widow, poor and foreign, became part of the royal line that produced the Savior of the world. Her story is proof God's grace is not limited by nationality, past, or reputation. His redemption is for anyone who clings to him in faith. In Ruth, we see what God can do with a life that surrenders to him. We see that we can trust him with our past, present, and future. So today, let's bow before the God of Ruth and say, God, help us to trust you more, to love your word more, and to walk in your ways more closely. If this story blessed you, share it. Someone needs to hear that no matter where they come from, God can graft them into his plan through Jesus Christ. Thanks for watching.